following activities are targeted for 5th grade students in a bilingual school. The activities would be presented in the subject of natural science, taught in English, and these are the curriculum goals. The classroom is composed of 20 students with neither physical nor cognitive inabilities. As a small numbered class, there is a familiar atmosphere and they enjoy participating and learning together. Fortunately, the school offers technical devices such as tablets, projectors, or printers. For the AI inquiry, I created a prompt telling DeepSeek to create a sequence of activities for my context. This is our conversation. As a general opinion of the proposal, I would like to highlight that I like how the response is molded to the students' characteristics, and although it is in a very simplified way, it also includes the specific competences we shall approach in each activity. The layout of the answer is confusing and visually unpleasant. The first activity proposed involves programming a robot to uncover facts about various species. However, I think that this approach takes too much time in class as we only own 4 robots. Sharing them would imply making some students wait for their turn, and although coding is an essential skill that students should learn, this tool may be perceived as a distraction rather than for educational reasons. We could use other techniques that may allow children to synthesize the information in a more efficient way and dedicate more time to the actual content. In conclusion, I would rather create another activity which I'll later explain in the video. Activity 2 really inspired me for the creation of my activities, as I think that augmented reality can be super effective when learning new things, as you can visualize them better. Moreover, the activity given by DeepSeek combined 2 digital tools where I rather focus just on one. I will also change the topic and focus on volcanoes, a natural hazard. Children will be amazed when seeing this phenomenon from all angles. The final activity in my sequence really inspired me by the third task proposed by DeepSeek. Rather than recording a normal conversation, my students shall become a new broadcaster reporting on a new hazard, assessing their knowledge on the topic taught through these weeks. The AI response suggested for each student to have a different role, but I intend for each kid to have equal relevance in the project. Each pair shall collaborate to create their own script and selecting a creative way to communicate the urgency of the situation. Good morning, class! Today we're going to learn about a natural hazard, volcanoes and their formation. So we're going to do a sequence of 3 activities, and for the first one we're going to learn about volcanoes using augmented reality. Okay, I will give a brief explanation of how volcanoes are formed, and later we are going to use augmented reality. So first you need to scan this QR code, and it will lead you to an app where you can see things with augmented reality. Before using the augmented reality, the teacher would give a brief explanation of how volcanoes are formed and their parts in order for the kids to have a general idea. Students will have previously downloaded this app, Explorer. Now they will select Terraforming Earth and slide down until Activity 3 and 4. First, Activity 3, the art of subduction. We will tap the screen so that the image appears. As you can see, it is labeled. Students are free to move through the class. If you tap the icon Info, you can get a deeper view of the formation of volcanoes. Now they need to select a activity for We Lava Volcanology. Students will now proceed to do the 3 activities I have prepared for them. The teacher will always be there for guidance. These worksheets shall be completed by pairs, and these were extracted from Pinterest and Twinkle. However, I did modify some of the content. In this activity, students shall create their own comic with the app Adobe. Their Canva will be a template I will provide them. From there, they can start creating their comic using the elements provided by the app and searching on the internet for images. They are not forced to use all 6 squares, but the sequence they create must be complete and have sense. This task must be completed individually to make sure they understood the content. When the pupils are done, they will expose their comics in small groups of 4 students. As you can see in the video, a student is creating its own comic using images and text. They can also use stickers. They are free to choose how to create the comic and the colors, the style, format. As you can see, the student here is changing the colors of each text. This is the final result. The last activity students will do is becoming a news reporter. They will use our green screen to record themselves giving breaking news of the eruption of a volcano. They will receive these instructions at the beginning of the lesson. After writing their script and filming their news, with their tablets, they need to edit their video using the app CapCut. Breaking news. A volcano has just erupted in Iceland. This volcano has not been active since 30 years ago, and this eruption is due to a movement of the tectonic plates. The magma has moved around, and yesterday a cloud of ash has appeared. Lava has flown over all the city. Using technological tools in these activities felt like the learning process would be taken to another level, whilst demonstrating support to multimodal learning. The topic would be better understood using these tools rather than teaching in the traditional way. In the first activity, a 3D environment is the first step to engage students and incite curiosity for the topic being introduced. Being able to control the angle, zoom, and movement of the volcano, the learning becomes active rather than passive. Comprehension and understanding of its abstract scale is faster. In my opinion, one of the best ways to start learning a new topic. Now, they have a more complete idea before moving on with the worksheets. Creating a comic demonstrates they captured the information and now synthesizes it into a narrative, putting into work their cognitive skills. Moreover, as they are authors of the narrative, writing the formation process of the volcano in their own words, the comprehension is deeper. They must connect the images chosen to the writing so it reflects what the activity asks for. With this activity, we demonstrate again the comprehension of the concepts. Learning becomes meaningful. The third activity presents the topic in an innovative format where students become a different person in order to transmit what they want. Meanwhile, their editing competence is developed. Transversal competences are applied and worked with which would be impossible if traditional learning was applied. This is activity 1. This is activity 2. And finally, this is activity 3. Following the rubric from e-learning to the evaluation, I have assessed the tools we use in the activities. Explorer. Privacy policies are a concern. In addition, apps like this may malfunction, frustrating students, resulting in a chaotic scenario. Adobe templates distraction, making students lose focus on the activity and give more importance to the aesthetic aspect of the task. CapCut. This app requires you to sign up in order for some elements to work. Its privacy policy is not designed for primary students. Other apps may provide stronger legal protection of data. Notifying parents of the use of technological tools is obligatory as students are minors. Therefore, at the beginning of each term, parents will receive a consent where there is a detailed explanation of the use of technology and how it would embrace their children's learning process. The use of technology can raise important questions, so every tool used must follow up the e-learning tools evaluations protocol. We prioritize tools that protect student data. When editing videos, as the one of the last activity, privacy shields and no logging policy shall be implemented to ensure images and data remain secure and under school's control. Finally, parents will be invited to ask any concerns or have a private session with tutors in order to resolve any misunderstandings. This is the way I envision the ACAD framework in my activities. The four concepts I have chosen are PLE, ACAD framework, e-learning tool evaluation rubric, and Codiroki. This is the definition of PLE, and I also watched this YouTube video in order to get a clearer understanding of the concept. I consider myself as an organized person, so when preparing lessons, apps like Google Documents could help me keep everything managed. Others, such as Pinterest, could inspire me to find new material ideas. Class Dojo, another app, would help me with communication and collaboration among school agents and families as a platform to announce homework or schedule changes. This is the definition of facilitating learners' digital competence from Area 6 in DigComp Edu framework. This framework would guide me as a future teacher to design activities where students can develop their creative skills with different technological devices. For example, after learning about Egyptians, students can create a video as being an Egyptian during one day where they can roleplay and demonstrate what they have learned. This editing can be done with apps like CapCut or InShot, and the green screen from our class is at their disposal. This is a fun activity where both editing and content creation is worked on. This is the definition of e-learning tool evaluation rubric. So teaching minors implies using appropriate technology carefully in order to protect students' privacy and data. I can use this rubric to compare different websites and apps as I want to choose the one who fits the best in my criteria. If I send an activity where students shall create a presentation, I would evaluate options as Canva or iMovie based on the ease of use and creativity options. The tools must be both engaging and appropriate. This is the definition of Codiroki. Using this robot makes the introduction of programming easier and fun. A task I thought about was using the robot to move through a map with objective of reaching different points of it. Each destination will have an open-ended question and a closed-ended question of specific topics which students must answer correctly in order to continue moving around the map. DigCompedu is a framework that visually represents the meaning for educators to have digital competencies. Area 3, Teaching and Learning. This area recollects different ways of using technology in learning, such as in collaborative or self-regulated learning, fomenting an active pedagogical practice. Digital tools gives us a wide range of selection when planning different lessons. It allows us to think outside the box, transforming technology into a proactive pedagogical resource. Presenting and putting into practice activities we created, I realized that with the correct approach, technology can step up lessons. Using the green screen in order to create a video gave us the ability of adding elements other apps wouldn't have allowed us, and moreover, other editing skills were put to the test. Area 5, Empowering Students. Enhancing the students' learning process with digital tools improve inclusion, differentiation, and engages learners, making learning more student-centered. With these tools, an essential aspect in the students' development is unlocked, with the goal of reaching their best potential. It will foster success, personal development, and growth. I don't think I could give just one example, as during this course, Linda always gave us freedom when using all of the different digital tools, sticking to different goals and criteria, of course. We were able to explore without limitations, motivating us to complete the task and be active learner rather than passive. My favorite is, for example, Kodiroki. We were able to explore all of its functions and use those we liked to create an activity, where the robot enhanced both learning content and coding skills. At the beginning of this course, my digital competencies were severely undeveloped. However, with tasks such as stop motion or augmented reality, that made me invest time in learning these tools, which will be useful and can be implemented in a future as a teacher, resulting in achieving a technological knowledge. Moreover, being asked to create a blog or using apps in order to create and complete tasks in group widened my range of mastery of technology. Area 6, Facilitating learners' digital competence. The last area in this framework is related to the ability of managing digital tools in a responsible and efficient way, being constantly aware of the risks. Developing the students' skills in this area is crucial, as technology heavily reflects on different aspects of our lives. Responsible use of technology is the ultimate conclusion of this framework. The grade I worked for is a 7 or an 8, not just because I have worked and tried to implement what I learned during the course in this final exam, but I was consistent during it. I am not handy at all when it comes to technology and using technology, so I am very happy and impressed with my development. I went to class and did my best to participate in it. I have seen progression through the course, as I have learned how to identify errors and learn about them. During the group tasks, I tried to be consistent at communicating with my teammates and working efficiently, and did my very best as the rest of the group. The most challenging role in the course, in my opinion, was the analyst. It was a challenge, not just because you had to work on it a long time, but we had to evaluate ourselves in a quantitative and qualitative manner. For group members was hard, as I didn't want to be biased. However, writing a qualitative justification made it easier to grade. Moreover, I enjoyed completing the additional exercise, having a conversation with a chatbot. It made me have a deeper understanding about the task and made me reflect on the assignment and the different perspective. DeepSeek for the AI inquiry in part 1. I also used it to ask for synonyms and specific words. I tried not to base my exam on the AI's response, as some may have errors, or the answers that were given to me was not what I have asked for. Friends and primary teachers I know inspired me when creating this exam by giving me their opinions or talking about past experiences.